networker is like a great interviewer.
I'm huge on authenticity, guys. It's a big part of my message.
Claim your local listings and don't get caught paying someone for your local listing.
If you want to be successful, you got to do 6 things 1,000 times, not 1,000 things 6 times.
And when in doubt, give to other people and don't expect anything in return. But in giving to other people and helping them, it almost always comes back.
It's using the power of partnership, creating trusted partner networks to work with you to make your company be an offer more than just you.
They've done 90% of the work. It's your job to do the last 10% to meet them in the middle.
Don't let the fear of losing be greater than the excitement of winning. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Ask Valor Masterminds podcast. My name is Galan.
I'm Joe.
And thank you to our sponsors, Advanced Septic Services and Fuse Networks. And we're coming at you from the BD Local Studios in Tacoma, Washington. So, Joe, for our new listeners and viewers, can you tell everyone how our podcast came to be?
Sure. So it first started out as a Facebook group page, and the purpose of it was to bring businesses together to almost like a mastermind group to talk to one another, share questions, tips about business. We thought, what a better way than to just bring on guest speakers onto a podcast and just bring up all kinds of different topics as it relates to business.
Awesome. And speaking of masterminds, we're happy to have Mr. Chris Williams on our podcast. And today's topic will be how to build an audience, and we'll probably get into some of the mastermind stuff a little bit later. But Joe, you want to start with the first part of Chris's intro?
Sure.
As uncomfortable as he didn't want to hear it, we're gonna have this embarrassing moment right now. So go ahead, Joe.
Yes. So Chris spends most of his time raising his 5 kids, exploring world communities, and trying his hand adventures like shark diving, ice climbing, running ultra marathons. I'm already tired. And riding electric skateboards. If that wasn't enough, in his spare time, he works with entrepreneurial and business experts, speakers, coaches, and leaders, helping them market, monetize, and lead their own high-ticket mastermind programs.
As the world continues to shift or pivot, many experts are trying to build high-ticket groups for additional income, lead generation, or impact. Chris teaches experts how to generate leads, close high-ticket deals, and build strong, transformational groups. He has his own digital agency, leads 2 masterminds of his own, and has learned many of these lessons the hard way. So sharing his journey and offering strategies is why he is here and why we're so glad to have you. So Chris, welcome.
Welcome.
Guys, I am so excited to be here. You guys are just super cool at what you do, and I love hanging out with cool people. So thanks for having me on.
Awesome. Hey, point for each of us. We're
that's
cool.
why I have
Score. Let's keep a
That's
record
why my
today.
title's Director of Awesomeness is because
Right. Awesome.
Are we video too, or can everybody just hear us, or can they see us too?
They can see you too. Yeah.
Okay. If you're listening,
outfit
only,
change or a wardrobe malfunction, just give us a heads up and we'll go from there.
No, I've already changed shorts like 3 times since we've been recording.
Awesome.
If you're just listening, and you got to go freaking watch the video, because these guys look like they're in a SpaceX like machine capsule flying around. It's so awesome.
Awesome. So let's take it out of this world. So we ask our guests the same 3 questions all the time. And the first question I'll ask is, what are some lessons learned as an early entrepreneur?
Absolutely. The thing I did wrong. Let's start there.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of really good ideas, and I didn't really validate them the right way. And for most of us as entrepreneurs, I'm sure you guys get the same ideas in your own head. We think of so many cool things and ways we could change the world, take over the market, fix something that's broken. But it kind of is like in a vacuum. And just because we see something needs to be done in a vacuum, as we all know, you guys floating around in a SpaceX capsule right now, look out your window. There's nobody else out there. Creating something in a vacuum is like creating something in wide open space. Every now and then you get lucky and you create it right next to a civilization. But usually it's out in the middle of nowhere. And I wasted so many years and dollars and just heart effort pushing my own agenda on things I thought was going to work, but it was just working in my own head.
Gotcha. So with that then, through your failures, what has been the best piece of advice you've been given?
This is a really good one too. It was 15 years ago, maybe 16 years ago. I hired a consultant. It was one of the first consultants I'd hired. I paid this guy $2,500 to teach me about marketing.
Mhm.
And it was over lunch. I literally paid $2,500 to go to lunch. Yeah, he was good. Truly fantastic. And I was blown away by what he said. When I told him, man, his name is Brian. I said, Brian, I got referrals coming out my ears. I can only take 10% of the referrals I get. Like, I'm good. I don't know how you can help me with marketing, but I know I could do more. But what are you going to fix?
Right.
He said, Chris, can you get 17 referrals tomorrow? I was like, no, they just keep coming in. Don't have to do anything for it. He's like, well, Chris, if you don't have a way to predictably generate on-profile leads, you don't have a business. You're just getting damn lucky. He actually said it just like that. I'm gonna say it again. If you don't have a way to predictably generate on-profile leads, you don't have a business. You're just getting lucky. The key there is that if you don't have a way to like literally put your hand, his analogy was like, put your hand on the water spigot outside your house and turn the water on and off to water the garden over there, like the sprinkler, right? If you don't have a way to dial up and down this afternoon at 2:00, your on-profile prospect flow, you don't have a business, you're just getting lucky. That is business. Running the piping, connecting to the water main, doing all this stuff that makes all that happen, that's actually building a business.
Right.
Planting cute little flowers in the garden is not building a business. But we all want to go to the Lowe's or Home Depot and buy flowers. We all know what happens. 3 weeks later, they're dead.
Right.
You got to fix the water supply.
Awesome stuff. So lastly, since this is a marketing podcast, why is marketing important?
Man, marketing's everything. Like I mentioned this the other day in our community as well when I was teaching, like building a place where your like message, your thoughts, your community, the stuff that makes the vacuum go away and actually puts your big idea in the space of a population, that's what makes prospecting happen. You got a spigot on the wall, you can turn that knob all you want, but if it's not connected to the water main, nothing's going to come out. And marketing is everything behind the spigot. It's the pipes that go in the wall. It's all the concrete foundation laid around the pipes. It's everything down all the way to the water main and even back to the water supply and the water filter and the water tower in the city. All of that is stuff that's like really mind-boggling for most of us as entrepreneurs. It was for me early on, but having people like you in my life that have been like, it's not that difficult. Like, don't go out there and build a random website. Don't spend 3 weeks on a logo. Just like, let's build a structure and a system and a pattern and do the right work. That's really, really important.
Yeah.
Awesome. And a good transition, our hashtag Valor Cares promotion. So like spending your efforts on a website. Joe, share some details on our hashtag Valor Cares initiative.
Absolutely. So it started about 2 years ago, and ever since then, we've been giving away 1 or 2 websites every single month. So it's just our way to give back to small business owners across the country. So if you, let's say, have a website that's outdated, or your cousin's best friend who lives in the basement built it, or some other company built it, you just want to have access to your website, or it's just 10 years old and you just want something new and fresh and modern, then go to our website and click on the Valor Cares page and go submit your information, and then a committee chooses 1 or 2 winners every month. And then with that, now we even added a company called Waymark. They produce videos. They're willing to donate I think it's 1 month.
Right.
1 month of free downloadable videos that you can actually keep and add to your website.
Yeah. So we'll have more details on our social channels. So thanks, Joe. So now we come to the part of our podcast, our A Advanced Septic Pump You Up quote of the day. So we ask our guests usually for a motivational quote, and this one's probably the simplest, most direct one. So I love that. So do work, get results. So obviously pretty obvious, but I still want to kind of get your thoughts on that, on why you share that, why you want to share with us and our audience.
It's a tagline under our logo. It's in every slide presentation we give in our masterminds. I mention it every time I speak live in our communities. Do work, get results, folks. People ask me frequently, man, how do you get to go do all these cool things all summer long with your family? Or why do you get to take these adventures? Or how do you don't work very much? Like, are you selling drugs? What are you doing? I'm like, no, what's the secret then? Do work, get results. Like, there's no other way to say it. And I'm not a guy who likes to work 80 hours a week. It just doesn't take that much work. It doesn't take a lot of work to do things well, but it does take work, and it takes intentional work. If you're going to add one thing that's not quite as inspirational as just get off your ass and work, it's do the right work. Like really, like most of us and most of you listening in right now, like we're all hustlers, right? We're not afraid of work, but we've had our heart broken going down the wrong path with a marketing company or with a consultant or an expert, or read a book that wasn't quite applicable. You didn't know how to make it your own. Get close to your experts, folks. If you trust Joe and Galan right now, great. Get close to them, like lean in and ask them marketing questions. That's why they're doing this. So you can actually get real information. Whoever you trust in your life for real information, for the right steps that you've seen succeed the way you want to succeed, ask them what the right steps are and do what they say to do. Don't ask somebody and then do half of that because the other half is hard or awkward or painful. Ask somebody, get the steps, execute, and you will get results.
Nice.
Yeah, awesome stuff. So now we come to the part of our program, our Fuse Networks Did You Know segment. So we'll listen to this quick tip from Aaron.
Fuse Networks, providing IT managed services and solutions in the Pacific Northwest since 2009. Here's Aaron with today's Did You Know segment. Did you know that more than 42% of small to medium businesses reported a data breach last year? With minimal security, small businesses are easy targets and more likely to fall victim. Are you concerned with how secure your IT environment is? Click the Learn More button for your complimentary IT security assessment from Fuse Networks and get a step ahead on protecting your business from cybercrime.
We have 2 myths and 1 stat that Chris shared with us, and I'll kind of read them and kind of get his thoughts. So this first myth: you must have testimonials to build an audience. Obviously, it's a myth, but share with our audience some of your thoughts on that, please.
Yeah, I get a lot of people in our community. I'm sure you guys do too. They're like, well, I really can't launch I teach people how to build high ticket masterminds. You know that. Mm-hmm. I can't launch this high ticket mastermind until I get, 7 people, maybe at least 3 people to give me a testimonial, which means I have to do like this beta program. And then I got to sell out for cheap. And then, come on. No. All right. It's just human relationships, right? That's, believe it or not, the way we think as individuals selling something, but people who are buying rarely actually look at the testimonials on your website. They rarely do. It's just not real. People do notice Google reviews and Yelp reviews for restaurants, but when it comes to buying your information, especially when it's a high ticket offer, they're buying trust. Yep. And they're buying you. They want to talk to you on a Zoom call. They want to do something where they get to know you, and that's what they're looking for. You get me, you know my problem, and you know how to solve it. And in this 30-minute conversation right here, I can trust you. Let's take the next step.
Yeah.
Awesome. The second myth: there are too many leaders already doing what I do, right? So it's that copycat syndrome, like, I've seen it, on your LinkedIn feed, like, I'm not good enough to do this. What are your thoughts on this myth?
Thank goodness. Because if you're out there doing something that nobody else is doing, I promise you, it's not because you had the first idea.
Yeah.
Nope.
Right.
There's a couple of billion people with the same idea. It's because a few of them tried it and realized it didn't work. If you go down that path, it's not going to work for you. There's a lot. Let's go back to our space analogy. There's a lot of space trash floating around. Don't create more of it. If you want to sell stuff to people, you got to be where people are, which means you're going to be where other salespeople are. Mm-hmm. And that means your idea is already confirmed. And I promise you there's enough to go around.
Yeah, fully agree with that one, right? It's almost like the McDonald's philosophy, right? Like if you're a fast food restaurant or a restaurant, go closest to where more of the traffic is as opposed to being in a standalone location. This same philosophy applies completely in this space also. So
yeah.
Our last Did You Know stat provided by Fuse Networks. There's always one positive statistic for every negative stat you believe. So I'm a stat guy. So you hear a lot of it, right? Negative, positive stats. But your thought on that, Chris?
I love stats when I see them in presentations. Frequently, if I'm in someone else's presentation watching along, or if I'm speaking on a stage somebody else is speaking on, and I'm like hearing, her presentation's dialing up through there, and I'm like, oh, that's a good stat. I often type in a stat and try to reverse the comment or reverse the stat and be like in the phraseology of your Google search, and you'll find the dissenters of that idea, or you'll find other stats that support the opposite view. And that's really cool because of two things. One, buyer beware, right? When you're listening to presentations and you're buying sales pitches, everybody just know it's easy to Google something that supports my argument, but also go into it with your eyes wide open and make logical decisions. Don't let that stuff freeze you out. Just let it be like, okay, I get it. There's opinions here. And again, like I mentioned a second ago, it's not about testimonials or stats. It's about, do you trust the person you're working with? If you do, and y'all are just meeting me, everybody listening in, but you know these guys, you've been listening to their podcast for a while now. It's because you trust them, right? You could go watch something funnier on TV. It's because you trust them.
That's for sure. Yeah.
When you find your trusted person, lean in.
Well, since as we're floating from space to all those flat earthers, it's not flat. So there you go. Positive stat, negative stat, fact, truth. We're out here. I could open the window and, here you go. Anyway, thank you.
Don't open the window, man.
No. Yeah, we have to give each other CPR, and you have to pay for that version. Anyway, so we're gonna really get into it with Chris on how to build an audience. So he leads a couple masterminds. That's kind of what he's known for. But we were really intrigued on our discovery call on like building an audience. So we have an audience that obviously we want to build, and businesses out there too, and people want to increase their influence. So kind of just take us through that. I guess the whole goal, like we said, is 2 or 3 nuggets that our audience could take, that really simple things or maybe things not to do. So kind of let you kind of take over.
Okay, I'm going to give like these one at a time because I think it's important to get them one at a time so y'all can take notes. First up, you need to go out there and be in the public. Some of us are comfortable on camera, some of us are comfortable on audio, some of us write. Some of us enjoy reposting other people's stuff. Whatever it is fine. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink what platform you're on. If you're a Clubhouse person, if you're a Facebook person, a LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, doesn't matter. Everybody is in your space. I promise. You got a target market you want to go after. If you think it's 65-year-old billionaires who live in Wisconsin, I promise you they have TikTok accounts. All right. They don't just have Facebook accounts or LinkedIn accounts, right? So be in your space, figure out what you love doing, and publish daily. Somebody told me that 4 or 5 years ago, and I started doing it for a while, and it really changed a lot for me. I think I did it for a full year. And it was actually Russell Brunson. I was in his mastermind. He's like, dude, you need to get out there and publish daily. So I did it, and it made me a better communicator. It also really attracted an audience. And it attracted an audience that I thought wouldn't be attracted to me because they were already attracted to other experts doing the same thing, right? You find your people.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's almost like a content hungry society now, especially with mobile devices. You're not just stuck to going at your computer at home to consume. Like on the road, even in our podcast, we're always surprised there's more audio listens than video views. So it's almost, and you want to keep feeding that, like, because there's people ready to consume that. So
absolutely. Publishing daily, if you guys are building a website for somebody, publishing daily is that you're building the jeweler We Buy Gold store, for instance. Publishing daily is standing out there with your little sign, flipping it around saying, We Buy Gold. You've always seen those guys on the street.
Right.
That's what publishing is. It's out there pointing to your store. The second thing I would mention is prospect daily. My team and I prospect 5 days a week without fail every week. That's what we do. We believe that if you don't have a way to predictably generate on-profile leads, you don't have a business. You're just getting lucky. Every day, we turn that spigot on and make sure water's flowing through. Every day. Now, standing outside the gold shop with the sign dancing around is not turning on the water supply. It's standing out there, waving at everybody, showing you have a water supply. Turning on the water supply is actually reaching out. Pick your social media platform again and actually make direct contact with people. Look people up, screen through all the friend groups that you could pick and pick 10 a day and just shoot them a message. Make a connection, shoot a message. Hey, you're doing something cool. It's great to connect. Don't drop your link. Just build a friendship, right? Yeah. You move into a new house in your neighborhood, you don't instantly, when you first move in, drop a flyer in everyone's mailbox and say, hey, having a party tonight. Why don't you come over? And oh, by the way, I noticed you looked nice when I saw you out my window yesterday. Want to get married? No. But over the course of about 6 months, you might meet your neighbor and you might get married, right? Take it easy, but prospect daily, meaning invite relationships into your world, make contact, shake hands, start conversations.
So what do you say to the person who maybe did that earlier, got comfortable in their career, like the pandemic happened and now you're having to restart, like maybe 2-3 years ago, they were active on social or whatever. And then now okay, I was comfortable then, but it's hard for me to get going now. What would you tell those people in the audience?
Number one, only you know that. Nobody else on your social media platforms even knows you're gone. Don't take it personally. We're all special little snowflakes. We're just all in a big pile. It's called a snowman. So get over it. Nobody noticed you were gone. Jump back in there today and just post something new. Don't start with, it's been a while, guys. Just be like, here's my post. Boom, it's out. Yeah. And start going again and start small. It's like changing a habit in your life. Start small and start working up with successful steps you can take. So if you're like, okay, I'm going to post once a week, daily's too much. Awesome. Do once a week and succeed. If you're going to prospect every day, instead of prospecting for 10 people a day, reach out to 2 people a day and make friends and start conversations. You publish once a week and find 2 people a day that seem like they'd be in your target market and start a relationship. I promise in 30 days, your business will have changed.
It's almost like the compound effect by Darren Hardy, like a lot of those kind of same principles and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool. It's not that hard. Baby steps to the door, baby steps to the elevator. Watch What About Bob, take the baby steps.
So another question I have is just talking about masterminds a little more. So a lot of our small business people in our audience or entrepreneurs out there have heard or maybe are reluctant when they hear the word mastermind because it's like a big step. Like they don't view themselves as worthy enough business people to be a part of it. They read the success stories, so they think, oh, that business, I understand why he's doing it because he's the number one of that in his area. But for these entrepreneurs and small business people out there plugging away, doing the right things, maybe they've figured out how to turn on the spigot, but there's a leak in the hose or something always happens. What is this? Why would you want, or why would you encourage someone to join a mastermind?
Mm-hmm. It's super easy. We just change and transform faster as humans in groups than we do alone. Even if you're hiring a one-on-one coach or consultant, if you want to learn and actually change, you got to do that in a group. Here's a stat for you. Reverse Google this one. We're 5 times more likely. I'm actually understating. It's higher than that. We're 5 times more likely to experience long-lasting, rapid change in a group than we are with a one-on-one therapist, consultant, coach, you name it, somebody who's there to change your life.
Is that from more accountability?
Accountability is part of it because I don't want to not show up and have done my homework. Yes, that's a common thing. Yeah. Here's the real trick though. It's because if the 3 of us right now are in a mastermind, let's say, I'm not going to think of all the questions you're going to think of. You're going to say, oh, so when I'm building a website, this one section of my page is actually what cracks the code on the SEO. And I'm going to say, no way. I didn't know that. I will make that change today. Thanks. And I would have never in my life thought to ask that because that's not how I'm wired.
Right.
Like you just got me 2 years ahead on my website getting recognized by Google.
Yeah.
Dang, thank you. That stuff happens when you're like a group of 10 people in a therapy session, in a residential healing program, or in a group mastermind for business or a yoga retreat. It happens in groups.
So for those businesses, is it usually masterminds are people in the same business, or is there a different effect when there's different kind of small business people in a group? So like not just dentists for say, you have like maybe a realtor, a dentist, an attorney, a roofer, a pest control guy, do the dynamics work differently in those kind of similar groups or, different groups?
you want some diversity in your groups for sure. And here's how we build our masterminds. We teach experts, coaches, authors, speakers, those types of experts, how to build their own high ticket masterminds. We intentionally have, as an example of that, have people from lots of different areas of expertise and industries in that 15-person group, let's say. All right. The common thread for them is that they're all trying to accomplish this same goal. They want to have that Russell Brunson type mastermind. They want to get it done now. Okay.
Right.
The commonality is the goal, but the diversity in who they are and their life experience in business is actually extremely helpful to the process. Because if you got, for your sake, if you got a roofer, a dentist, and a general contractor in the same mastermind, and you're all working on local marketing, that's brilliant, because somebody's going to have had this amazing outcome with mailers, and somebody else is going to have this SEO trick, and somebody else is going to have this, Facebook group idea. Yeah. And 3 or 4 others are like, oh my gosh, I could totally start a Facebook group. And they wouldn't have thought of that if it hadn't been for somebody else. Yeah. Make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
Completely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, get kind of a feel of it, like in sharing for our audience, and then to know personally ourselves, because you've heard the words. We've named our podcast Ask Valor Masterminds, but to really get into it from someone who does that, just real quick. So if a business owner is looking to join that, what's like the commitment like? Is it like weekly meetings, twice a week? You have the big group. Do you have an accountability partner on the side of that? And then, like kind of work required just to set up expectations of that?
It depends on the mastermind. And let's define what masterminds really are. They're not e-courses led by some coach who shows up once a month. And there's a group of 100 people in there. That's just an e-course.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. A real mastermind is a small 10, 15, 20, maybe 25 person group where there's real investment from the expert and real connection on an ongoing basis with the people that are trying to change. Okay. So the right setup depends on what that group's trying to accomplish, to answer your question. Ours is different than yours would be if you had your own mastermind.
Yeah.
My mastermind, we meet twice a week and we build a mastermind rapidly. Some mastermind, we teach tons of people to do it. So lots of people have once a week meetings. Sometimes it's every other week. Sometimes it's once a month. I teach 2 masterminds. One of my other masterminds, I show up for once a month and we meet live at a resort twice a year. So we literally see each other 12 times a year, 2 in person, 10 on Zoom calls. But that mastermind is designed more as a cracking code with big experts than it is to actually build and be tactical. So the more tactically oriented your process is, the more you need to meet to keep people on track with do this, then that. Versus if it's relationally oriented, it's more, let's make the connections, talk what we need to do, get some serious stuff done in a month, see you then, Right.
Understood.
Depends.
Yeah. Cool.
Good questions.
Yeah. I don't know. It just, it is kind of a trending topic as you kind of pivot away from the pandemic and people are looking to separate themselves or like bounce back. The successful companies, like the ones you probably coach, see a need to kind of keep ahead of the curve as opposed to just settling for status quo. And now more than ever with people searching and, like you said, posting, it's important to be relevant and stay, top of mind.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one more question you should ask me.
Oh, what is that?
Can you say it? Should you build a mastermind now or once you have a huge audience? Here's the thing, and this is always so fascinating to me in our masterminds. We have people in the mastermind I'm teaching right now, the Q2 advanced group. We have people in there with millions of followers on social. They're legit influencers getting paid big ticket deals to be influencers with millions of people on their mailing lists that have been doing it for a long, long time. And we got people in there who are literally just starting and they're 22 years old. And everybody is going to build and launch a mastermind just successfully. It has nothing to do with your list size, which is so interesting. You think you need that huge funnel to find 10 people who can finally spend $50,000 with you or whatever.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with it at all. You can start scratch, and everybody who's been doing it a long time always wishes they had started at the mastermind level and built the funnel backwards versus starting at the low ticket and building up. It's the value ladder is
the end in mind, right?
It's upside. The value ladder is upside down. Yeah. Start with the end. Why not?
So then let me ask you a question. How do people get in touch with you?
Easy.
If they
Group
want to learn
Coach
more
Nation.
about more about Masterminds or just you in general, how are they going to reach out?
Yeah, just Google Group Coach Nation and you'll find us. groupcoachnation.com is our domain, and we are there. You can ask tons of questions. We'll help you figure out if you're a beginner, advanced, or pro level person in your own journey of building a mastermind. And wherever you are, we got tons of free stuff. We don't even ask for your email address. We just want to put you on the right path.
Nice.
Awesome. So to our audience, great resources, and thanks for the kind assist, Chris, for everything.
Yeah.
Before we close, our one last plug on our Valor Cares initiative, Joe.
Yeah, if you don't have a website or it's just terrible, your baby's ugly, and you need a new one, just jump on there, askvalormasterminds.com, click on the Valor Cares page, submit your information, and then hopefully we'll choose you.
Awesome. So thanks to our guest, Chris. Geez, this was I took some notes and just a lot of things that I'm going to consume and like kind of think on. So thanks for your great insight and everything.
Yeah, thanks, Chris.
Thanks, guys, for having me. This is super fun. And all you folks listening in, lean into these two guys. They got your back. Just lean in. They know what they're doing.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So thanks to our sponsors, Advanced Septic Services and Fuse Networks. My name's Galan.
I'm Joe.
Coming at you from the BD Local Studios in Tacoma, Washington. Thanks for watching and listening to this episode of the Ask Masterminds podcast. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.